Gundam.tk presents High Grade Farsia. Hey, what's up again everybody? It's Robert184, 2Rs2Bs from GundamReviews.net, and I'm continuing my look at the High Grade 1144th Farsia, and you can see from the empty plates here with all that multitude of interesting colors on there that this is going to be pretty neat, but it's time to take a look at the engineering of the individual parts. Here are all the main body parts, and you'll notice that they're all suitably small for this MS. You're also going to have a very interesting looking backpack over here, which is rather large compared to the body, to go along with the Farsia base and the clear stand, which is going to help hold that up. And you'll be getting 5 Farsia bits in total there, and you can see that you're going to get 3 long clear poles there that you can bend to get into the right angles if you want to have that shooting out from the Farsia stand. 2 extra manipulators there, familiar to the Vagan style. An extra little thing, if you're not using the stand, you can plug that into the bottom to go along with the Farsia sword, and no beam sabers to be found. And I chose not to line this very much because I didn't think black would look good on the pink, so I just use a Real Touch marker, and then you can just use a Q-tip or tissue to get rid of the excess. Starting at the bottom and working the way up, I was wondering about the legs and how much mobility they'd have, and no disappointments here. First of all, you're going to have some pretty good color ups down there, especially on the foot. You're going to have the pink here, that lighter shade there, and that's going to extend to the back. The feet themselves are not going to move, and the ankles are just going to be on a ball joint though. So don't expect anything too fancy, but again, it should be good enough to get it onto the stand. In terms of the knees, you can bend it this much, so you'll get your 90 in this way, so you're going to get a 135, and it's got a good attachment point there when it's at an attractive angle. And over here, you're going to have some black parts there on the inside, again, with just a ball joint there to attach to the hips, which is probably one of the simplest ones to put together in all of Gundam history. You've got a polycap down there, so if you do want to put an action base in, you can, regardless of the stand. Put a couple pieces together there, and then just take these front skirts, and these are on ball joints so you can rotate them around at the appropriate angle. The chest is going to look great though with these 4 colors on here with the black and then this lighter tone of pink here. It's also great to see these little details here where you put on the shoulders. But inside there's going to be a silver seal, and then when you put on that clear pink part, that's going to make this part stand out much more so than any of the other Vagan chest lasers, I'd say. And then adding to the flower motif is this giant backpack here, which is going to be larger than almost all the parts of the Farsia put together. First of all, you're going to have this part here, which is not perfectly circular, so you've got to line it up the right way. And you'll notice that that's going to move up and down, so you can sort of position the way this is going to go around and cradle the neck. As for the wings here, they're not going to have any mobility whatsoever, but if you notice these white parts, they're removed from the front, so that's going to create an interesting 3D effect, depending on the angle that you look at it from. You could go and add some lining in there, but I think it's mostly going to be hidden, so I didn't bother. The shoulders here are going to move up and down there as well as here, so you can move these parts and this part independently. They're also going to rotate around there, and it's going to look pretty good no matter what angle it's at. Of course, it looks best lined up, but it's not all that bad even bent. You can bend the elbow there, and that's all you're going to get. So you're going to get 90 degrees, more with the knees, even though you'll probably be using these more often. And then you're going to have this big sort of God Gundam-like forearm part down there, which is split and just solid, and you can rotate this around depending on which angle you want to position it at. And then we're going to have the familiar Vagan hands with the beam Vulcans down there, which you can also attach the Farsia sword onto, which is really, really small if you were to compare it to the tails of something like the Gafran or the Zedora. And remember that you're also going to be getting the clothes set here, and the purple, the light purple color is actually looking pretty good with those black covers on the back of the hands. But the real highlight for me, believe it or not, outside of that chest section, has got to be this Farsia stand here, which is going to have 3 nice colors in it, very Kubli-esque, I'd say. You've got the nice pink here, and then you've got that little light purple there to go along with this brighter pink. The only problem is that I'm not too keen. They do give you 3 whitish seals here that you can put onto each one of these petal parts here, and they are just going to fall off, it seems, so you're probably better off with them off. Although to have this, 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 and this is going to add a nice little color combination. You can take this and attach this into an action base in addition to the clear stand that they're going to give you. And if you take a look up top, I've got a little bit of pink lining in there. And I just went around this circle here, and you can line her up to put her heels on. And with those pegs there, you can put the feet on, and they're going to fit on very nicely there thanks to this hole in the heel there. Old school action figure style. The clear base is going to be made out of a couple parts there, and you'll notice that it's got these cut parts, and with that little peg there, when you take this and attach it into the Farsia stand, you'll notice that this little white or purple part there, light purple, is going to extend down below, which is just adding to the coolness of this whole thing, and it just sort of adds in a whole nother color there. Also, a big plus, Bandai's been doing this a lot lately, but if they're going to give you an action base, why not have these extra little parts have a place for them to fit in, so you can have the hands down there along with that attachment part, which would go on here if you weren't using this. And I should mention that this can sit flat on a table, so you don't even really need this, I suppose, except for that little bit of color and extra height. The Farsia bits, though, are going to be a little bit disappointing just in terms of the color. It is made up of 2 pieces, so it would have been nice if they had used the multitude of colors to at least differentiate there somewhere. But if you see them painted up like a pro, you could really go, they've got lots of little lines around there, you could really fix this up and really add to the effect. This is going to be helped because otherwise these are just going to be pretty useless. They have nowhere to attach onto the body or the stand when not in use, except for the fact that they're going to give you 3 of these and they just tell you to bend them wherever you like, and you're going to be able to attach these on to the bottom of the clear stand where you've got 6 holes that you can put these in, so even though you've only got 3 to go along with the 5 bits, you can see why this might actually be quite useful. And finally, the head of the Farsia is going to be probably the simplest of all the Vagan suits. You do only have the 3 colors. There is a very small green seal in there if you can make it out. The commander's antenna is going to be looking really good. But the whole key is that when you're going to put on this massive backpack around this head, is you're not really going to need any extra details around it because it's all going to look like it's built into it. And I think it's looking pretty good, even just held up poorly here in my hands. Just from the build, I have to say that this was one of the more unique Gundam kits to ever put together because first of all, it's a very feminine kit, and that's something that we can't say very often outside of what the Archer and the Nobel Gundams, whether Berserker or not. And in this case, it just seems like everything here is going to be a little bit delicate, from the legs to the arms to that tiny waist and chest section. Everything about it is going to be small except for this backpack and the stand, so it's going to be a really neat contrast when that's all put together. The bonuses of the Zetas sword, yes, it's very small. You're going to get the extra hands, which are cool. I like that you can stand this up without this or with this and put the clear parts in. Would have been nice, I suppose, if they had given you 5 of these to go along with the bits. And they are a little bit disappointing because they lack the color. But otherwise, everything about this, from the color, multiple color tones to the little flares popping off all over the place, are going to look really good, I think, when it's all put together. But the key is probably going to be this large backpack and how that fits around the head and adds its little pixie wings. So why don't you stick around for the next part where I'll show you the mobile suit mode, and hopefully Dizzle doesn't make it go fly off before that's done. And in the meantime, why don't you let me know what you thought of the MS and the video with a comment down below. Thanks for watching, everybody. See ya. First grade Exia does not fear the next perfect grade released.